Something called Darius. Randall, what's up, guys? Turn this off. There we go. What's that? A second. Okay, fine. Cool. There we go. How are y'all doing? Doing all right? Let's do this. We're all set. I almost couldn't find a place to park. There is a certain parade going on. Really great. All right. Let's do this. I am ready. I am ready. Doing great, man. Doing great. Can't complain. Cannot complain. Well, I could complain, but you don't want to hear that, do you? How's the sound? Everything okay? We got the music's a little bit low right now. It's a little bit of a dip, if you will, in the sound. All right. There we go. First things first. First things first. I don't need to do this, create like a second row, but I'm going to make one just a little bit more purple because what I did, I took some of the paint from the limited palette that I did with black. So this has like some black in it, whereas before I was just going, shoot, that's way too much. Look at that. See? All right, so I messed up. It happens. Actually, there's way too much alizarin crimson in there. Pull this out. It's easily fixed. Some of this I'm going to put in there. There we go. Awesome, Randall. Good stuff, man. There. That's actually a little bit better. It's still very colorful, but I took kind of some of the green/yellow out. Just wanted to soften it to my eye just a little bit because, you know, in the hands it's not as harsh as these colors. In fact, it's not as colorful. I might still have to dole them out some, but we'll see how that goes. See this here. That's fine. That's fine. It's very mucho colorful. There we go. Let's do this. Let's do this. There we are. See, these colors I can use for the face too. So I have to watch my dad a lot this week. My mom's going on vacation, which is very good. So I would like to stream. I wanted to stream this week. I couldn't. I want to stream this week. I don't think I can. You know, it's just how it is right now. It's unfortunate, but it's not mom's fault. It's not dad's fault. It's just how things are. They need some help, so I'm going to try to be around for them and such. I feel like I want to gray that out maybe just a little bit, but I'm not going to at the moment. Let's take a little bit of this. This is like too red, so I'll actually modify that in a second. It's too much. I'm just going to take a little bit of this. A little bit less. About there. Yep. There we are. So I can kind of gray them out with these colors right here. Doesn't have to be so precise. We'll kind of gray them out some. So you want to have soft grays, soft grays. Chipotle. Chipotle. Chipotle color. Yeah, hopefully you are getting commissions, man. It's good to get commissions, especially, I mean, it's better than working another job. On 3 portions, this guy's mom. It's a good exercise. I might be able to sell all 3. Yes. There you go. That's what we need to do. We need to be selling this shit. Okay. How big of a brush do I really want? Don't want it like so big. So big. That's probably broken. I'll just take these brushes for now. Okay. Let's get into this. Laura, ciao. Hey, Laura, now that I have, like, you're here, I have your attention. That's your sister's party. Was it worth missing my mom's dream? Laura, so yesterday when you were talking about your elbow, I really want to say this really quick. I just got off of a month-long break from working out, which I hate taking breaks. It's good to take a week off every 3 months or so, I think. And it's very good to rest because that's when you recover, blah, blah, blah. But I had the same problem as you, and let me show you what I did. I'm going to show you 2 things, and then we're going to get started painting because I know y'all aren't here for like medical advice. Take this with a grain of salt. I too, like a couple of years ago, had pain right through here. And this I was able to treat, and it happened especially when I was like doing actual like pull-ups, not the chin-ups like this. That's chin-up pull-ups or like that. What I would do, like normally I stretch my wrist like this, right? I stretch like that, and I stretch here. But one thing that really helped, because it was getting tight and I couldn't quite pinpoint it, I would massage it cross-friction like this, but I would also take my hand here and kind of pull it down this way, and you feel it going up here, and that really helped that. But then I had to take a month off recently because I had, I think it was golfer's elbow, but it might not have been. It might have been some slight tendinitis. And with that, you're supposed to stretch some too, because apparently, like, you have these muscles and tendons, or the muscles going down attaching to the tendons, the tendon right here. And this was really sore, especially when I would do chin-ups. It was horrible. And I pushed that for like a month or 2, and I shouldn't have. And I thought I could stretch through it, you know, I would stretch, and it wouldn't really help. So one of my friends gave me some essential oils to put on it, like lemongrass and marjoram, which I think helped. I'm not going to downgrade that. I just don't know about that, but I did it because why not? But I would ice it, like you said. Massaging actually made it worse. Stretching actually did make it worse, so I had to rest that for a month. But then, like, when I got back to it this week, there was slight pain, but I was like, I'm only going to do the things like that do not hurt it at all. Like, if it hurts a little bit, I don't do it. So I figured out, and especially like with bicep work, I was figuring out what exactly I could do that was like a good workout. And when I did that, then I would go home, you know, and I could, at this point, slightly massage like around the muscle here. But like I said, it was like real pain here. But I would ice it and put some of that, like deep blue, actually, I think actually does help quite a bit. But yeah, the stretching at first didn't help this one. And so I probably had some like light tendinitis or something. But anyway, when I exercised this week, it's the pain, like, slowly now it's gone away. It's like, you know, my arms are a little bit looser. It feels really good, and I feel back to normal. And I'm still, but what I learned is, you know, instead of always taking all this time off for particular things. Sometimes you need to rest certain muscles. But working out really heals you up fast if you're working around the injury. You know, you don't need to stop cold turkey, because I started getting all these problems when I stopped. I felt horrible, like more pain and this and that. And it wasn't until I started working out and actually getting some blood going through there that I actually healed up. So for me, it was doing the exercises that I could do. And that's my 2 cents. Glean from it what you will. Now we paint. All right, so I baked the shit out of this in my car. Let's start with this hand. All right, going in the dark, getting some cadmium red, alizarin crimson on it. Let me catch up here. Back, pressure bands, yeah. I'll have to try the pressure bands. Out through the tendonitis and the bands, less intense. Did it go away? Like, do you experience, like, were you experiencing any pain? Gosh, let me do this. Just because I took this off before. You can see I kind of wiped it down, but there. Now we know how light we can go. And I'll go this is how dark we can go. There you go. Okay. There. That works. Boom! Let's go into, actually I'm going to go in this darker dark right here. I kind of want to compress the dark values down to give it a little bit more of a atmospheric effect, instead of opening my eyes and drawing all this form in the dark areas. So I might actually darken the shadows just a little bit more than I should. But this actually does make sense for when I squint. When I squint, it does get a little bit darker. So that's something that I think we're going to do. And what that's going to do too is going to make this appear a little bit lighter. It's going to expand our value range a little bit within the flesh tones, because we're compressing the shadows, and so that gives us a little bit more flexibility, if you will, to do this. There we go. All right, and we might break out the smaller brushes with this too, because frankly, it would be very beneficial. Be mucho beneficial. Squint. Now, I don't want to like darken this too much, but like I said, I can always go back in and make it like lighter if I want. It's easier to make it lighter. There we go. Okay, so squint down. And then what I'm going to do too, I'm going to take the same brush right here, and let's get frickin', well, let's see. What do I want? How do I want the background? I tell you what, I'm going to put, no, I'm not going to put hole on it yet. Maybe I should. All right, so I'm kind of working these values up right here, and then I'm going to go into it right around here. Something like that. Kind of just around the sides here, so that there's a basic impression. And I can actually get this even darker with hole. Hole is my black that I mixed myself. You know what? I'm going to actually go to these smaller brushes at this point. Here they are. I was looking for these. Oh, because I moved my table. That's why I forgot about that. Let's put this here. These are the brushes that I wanted. Let's just go with some smaller ones, but I can still get big strokes with them. It went away after I eased up on the intensity a smidge until it felt better. Then I picked up the intensity again, but only 3 days a week as opposed to 5 days. My body needs consistent rest if the workouts are intense. Dude, I know. Concrete pouring is freaking awesome. All right, see, here we go. I'm also thinking like how I want this to look as compared to the face up top. I'm not really going to be adding much medium to this so that it actually covers. Let's see, that I knew it would be a little bit lighter, and that's a good thing. So I'm just going to squint down. I'm squinting as I do this. All right, this right here is the lighter part, but I'm just going to put that on really quick there. We can do some variation in color. So I'm keeping the value about the same, but if I want it more orange, this is what we do right here. Or I can just go through, take that, which is a little bit more orange. And let's just bring it up top here like that. And I'm actually thinking a little bit about the paint thickness as well at this point. And then when we squint, the lightest light on this is going to be right here and then here. But if we zip up to the face is actually going to be a little bit lighter, but I have that lighter right now. Y'all can't see it, but it is. Yeah, what are you building? I had a hole in my floor and some patches where it had been damaged. Poured concrete. So you like mixed it? How did you mix it? Did you do it with a shovel? I used to do some mission work down in Nicaragua, and we used to mix concrete with a shovel, and we'd have, the concrete, we'd have water, and then we would also have rocks to put in as a basic foundation, which worked quite nicely if I'm going to say so myself, yes. Okay, that's, okay, here, we're squinting. I'm squinting here, and let's push the color in this area just a little bit. And I'm kind of using just one brush right now. The smaller brushes, it's easier to use. Like you don't always need like 50 small brushes. That's an exaggeration. You don't always need like 7 or 8 necessarily, unless the colors are dramatically different, right? Because you can work between them because there's not that much paint, so it doesn't get as muddied on the brush, which is quite nice. There we go. That's the color that I wanted. Let's go back over and just saturate that up just a little bit more. There, and then I see a little bit up top here, like this. And I do want to have kind of a brushy effect with this. It's quite nice when that happens. So we're just going to slowly build this up, and so I'll start, you'll see in a little bit, I'll start getting like a little bit more variations in my color, and I'll be able to do this because of the way that I'm applying it, which is very little medium right now. So it's very important to step back and really assess what I'm doing here, because I'm lightening this, but I'm darkening that, but I still have to keep the flow. I don't want to have ultra contrast with it, right? Your brother-in-law bought one of those mixer things from work. Really? So it like turns? That's really cool, man. That's really cool. Oh, Laura, good stream yesterday, by the way. I really enjoyed that. That was fun. And I'm glad I actually made it this time. There we go. Light up top just a little bit. So you see, this is how I'm thinking value, and then I'm thinking about color. All right, and the value I determine by me squinting at both my work and the actual painting, or the reference photo in this case. And if the reference photo sticks out more than my actual painting does, like in this case, this I'm going to lighten some. So I say, okay, I need to lighten it, and it needs to be this color. So I'll go in with the value, and then I'll go in with the color right after that. So like this top part right there, the top piece, I'm going to go in with like some solid red, maybe a touch of alizarin crimson, which is going to darken it just a little bit. And I'm going to really try to saturate this because I can always desaturate it. So this is how I work. I just take my time. I'm constantly going back to the portrait. And then I do, a couple strokes, not too many. And if I put something down and it seems a little bit too light, then I might go to an area that actually has that, right? Like this might be a good transition, like kind of around down here, maybe right here, which is kind of what I was doing before, or right here, right? and I'm putting the strokes down. I'm not really thinking about, I don't want to really over model this. I do want to have kind of a brushy effect, kind of a nice brushy feeling, loose and relaxed. This, I don't want this. Let's go in with, this is going to be a slightly darker brush. So I'm working with a range of these values with this brush right here. And it's like I said, it's easier with the smaller brushes because you can really clean them quicker, and so you can get like cleaner color faster. But I would not want to be using a light brush here because then it would just milk it out. It would just be, it's too much of a contrast. This is your last forgiveness. Okay, so I'm not going to go like totally dark. I have to connect them with these mid-tone values, right? So I'm thinking of the darkness. And I'm thinking of the color. So here we are. Here we are. And so I'm going to squint down as I do this and just lightly apply it. And then I'll open my eyes up to see if the brush stroke makes sense, and then I'll close them back. And then I'm lightly just wisping it on. So I'm not painting so thick right now. The thick, like I'm covering it, but I'm not thinking I need to paint really thick and get the effect right off the bat. The effect can come later. I don't mind working this up some and really over modeling it. Well, not over modeling, I guess smoothing it out and just trying to get the drawing and the values, the under painting correct. And then either within the day or a week or next time I paint, then I could go over, if the drawing's correct, and I could go over with the proper technique and the thickness and try to really get it. And I might mess up a couple times, but you can go back into it, which is freaking sweet. Okay. So that right there is I'm gonna make it like a little bit more red and light. So just a little bit more red. I really want that, and I really want it to stand out, but I don't want it to be like too much. So I'm really thinking about the brush stroke. I kind of like didn't do that well, but that's okay. I can fix that in a little bit. So where else do we see this value? I see it some kind of like around here. I'm just squinting down, just trying to get the overall impression. Where I want it to be soft, I kind of turn my brush a little bit and feather it. Where I want it to be sharp, I point in more towards the tip. But to be honest with you, when you're working with these small brushes, you can just do all these tip strokes like that, and when you stand back, they'll blend in, which is quite a nice effect, if I may say so myself. Right. Didn't wrap that one that well. Let's see. Yeah, this one's a little bit better. These brushes are very small, obviously, and so when I wrap them, at the end of the day, I try to kind of like think about the tip, and I press them in, and I kind of fold the, like I press the cloth in, the paper towel, and then I'll fold it along the top. But sometimes, like, I don't do it totally correct. So, anyway. Oh yeah, this is the light. Going kind of more with the light. Just kind of at the top here. So now we're going to work within this range. So I have 3 brushes, kind of a mid-tone, light brush, and then I'm doing more of a light brush right here. But to be honest with you, maybe I don't want to make it as light as, let's see. Y'all's picture is better than my iPad photo. Rose turned the brightness up again on this. Which that's okay, I'll just kind of ignore that. It's all relative anyway for the most part. All right, so I'm not really worrying about the thickness at this point. I mean, you could try to like start worrying about the thickness and such. But all right, there we go. That's about, like, I don't want to get lighter than that, to be honest with you. Not yet, because I want to save room for like small little highlights. I'm really thinking, honestly, I don't know if y'all can tell, I'm thinking about the drawing, really trying to correct this. That's the main thing I'm thinking about. And then I'm just going to bring some down here. And then, it's obviously kind of the same color, but I'm just doing it very loose When it get more specific, we'll start going through and mixing more specific colors and values and what have you. We're just trying to get the basic light impression. And let me add on a little bit. I'm going to actually bring this pinky up just a little bit here. Just a little bit. Just a little, because I think that'll look a little bit nicer than what I have. There we are. And then let's get a dark. I think that's probably all we really need for now in terms of these brushes. I'll just work between the 4 of these, which is nice. Just the tip, another lies. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? There we go, just bring that up a little. This part kind of comes in, maybe just a little too. Gotta work on that. Squint. Squint. Okay. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to green this out right here. Darken this just a little bit here. Take some of that. And there's a little bit of blue in there. A little bit more. See how this looks. I like that color. It's quite nice. It needs to be a little bit more blue in there, but I can push that later. Let's bring some of this color. Let's see where else we have this. I think some probably around this area right here. Coming around perhaps some in here. I'll just lay like some basic foundation stuff. This is a little bit more blue where I have it, but that's okay. Same here. I'm just going to add these to a couple places, and then mainly we have it kind of coming around back. So I'll just apply like that. So we're starting to get some greens in there, which is going to contrast the reds. I'm going to wipe the brush off. I mentioned the tip of the brush. It's in the past now. Oh, yeah, the tip of the brush. That's how I get sharper lines, is actually using the full force of the freaking brush, right? Instead of just like turning it on its side. So I'm just using ultramarine here. I'll show you. I'm using this ultramarine blue right here. I know it's probably, you don't see that part. So I'm really going to try to push this just a little bit. There we go. And maybe bring it a little bit closer to the value. So there, I think let's try this and then go into this right here. That's a little bit nicer. I don't know if you guys can tell that or not, but it's a little bit better than what I had before. There. It's okay. It's okay. Here. And then let's do a value that's turning. So I'm actually going to make this a little bit darker here. So like I said, you can do that with the small brushes. You can be a little bit more loose with it. So if I add like too much blue or something, then I can go into these piles of paint and bring them back closer to the value. If I need it lighter, then I just use, if I need it lighter and closer to the skin color, like less blue, then I can go into this. Darker, closer to skin color, that, right? So I'm doing this because it's nice to have some variation transitions. There's really not that much of a difference. I'm going to wipe this off again and actually push this a little bit more than I think it needs to be pushed. So if you're having trouble and it's like you're painting and you think that didn't really do that much, then just slightly exaggerate your colors. When you mix, think, okay, this is what I think it is. Okay, I'm going to push it a little bit darker, or more, I'm going to make it a little bit more colorful. Exaggerating your colors is okay to do, because you can always bring them back. So I'm going to take this off. This brush was here. Let's get mix this back into a base. So we're starting at ground zero again, and then I'm going to go in and start putting a little bit more color. Here we go, something like this. This is mid-tone, so we're connecting the light and shadows. But like I said, let's push it just a little bit. There we go. Squint. And try to get the overall light impression, the overall light shape. All right, let's go in with the lighter brush here. I'm going to darken it just a little bit because I think I went a little bit too light with it. So I have 4 brushes, a dark, a light, and then a darker mid-tone and a lighter mid-tone. And so like with smaller brushes, you can get away with using less brushes. There we go, let's try that. Yeah, I'd mentioned, okay, I already read that. Let's do colorful / light. So we're just going to desaturate it by bringing some light in, thereby killing 2 birds with 1 stone, as they say. Killing 2 birds with 1 stone. And what we're going to do, we're going to go in with the mid-tone. Brush. Alizarin Crimson is nice because it's a very transparent color. And I use that a lot just to, like, it's great for mid-tones and such. Just laying this paint. Just laying the paint. Let's actually make that a little bit more red. Saturate it a little bit more with some color. There we go. There we go. I'm just pushing the paint that's on it and laying down the new paint. And I'm squinting down to understand the shape that I'm seeing. I do not know. You know, Saturday I think is hard for a lot of people. Understandably so. So we're just taking our time, trying to show you guys the mixing process here, right? Taking my time and just slowly building this up. Step back. I need to have, like, when I step back, I'm looking at the overall impression of what I'm drawing, not just like the one area, right? There. Let's bring some of this up top. I like how the Alizarin Crimson reminded you of Clara. She did really. She's a topic person. She's very good at coming up with topics. Which, by the way, that tracing video thing has pissed a lot of people off. And which is just, I guess, you know, people are very passionate over this stuff. Every once in a while, I get a comment that is like basically defending it by saying, "Oh, there are paintings in a museum or what have you with this stuff." There's a lot of stuff in museums. Anyway, it's kind of funny. She likes those conversations. I'm glad she brings them up. And to be honest with you, I really don't care. I just like. It's fun messing with people with that stuff. I just don't think tracing's good. I mean, I think too, another thing is there's a lot of confusion over like tracing because a lot of people think that old masters did it. There's a difference between tracing like your a drawing that you did, you know, like doing a transfer drawing, like I do that. That's what we're taught to do. You can trace that stuff onto a canvas. I'm talking about like actually like the whole process of you're doing it is just like you're tracing, right? You're tracing to get something because you can't do it otherwise. It's going to show a lack of understanding, like in your work. So, I mean, that's the way that I see it, at least. You know, this, when I'm painting here, right, there's a lot of mistakes in it, but I'm going off a photograph, which I think is less than real life. I'm only seeing one angle. I'm seeing it's a translation through technology, and gosh, this thing's really annoying. It's a translation through technology. It's like flapping around. 1 second. And like the lighting's off. The color is definitely off. I know from experience with this that the color variation is not as much as it normally would be. It's a big deal. Anyway, my point is, even through that, like I'm trying to understand what I'm doing with this. And the more you correct, the more you sharpen your eye, the more you understand things, the more that understanding is going to come out. If you blindly trace something, you're skipping that. It's not just about making it look close and in the ballpark. You know, it's not just the contour and the shapes to left or right, you know, height and you know, what have you. It's about like the three-dimensionality. It's about the subtlety. It's about understanding the planes and sharps and softs and how those translate to planes. Like, it's the three-dimensionality of it. And I'm willing to bet that if you had like a masterpiece painting done from real life observation, not this stuff that I'm doing, and you know, up against a tracing done by somebody who has made that their habit, I guarantee you that the latter would be 100 times better than the former, and people would be able to tell. I think. I do believe that. And what I believe is always right. 100% of the time, so. So that's how you know, it's just the way things are. Step back. Stop. There. That is too wide. The music is groaning. Yeah, it's Wrath of the Lich King. Like, I get in trouble with movie soundtracks. I always get like, you know, something saying, you can't play that. You think so? You think it'd be somebody singing? Can you paint over a compressed charcoal drawing, or will it look strange? A compressed charcoal drawing? You need to spray it with, what's this stuff, or you need to paint something over it if you're going to do that. I've done it before, I've painted over that, but it's like, it smears, it smudges some. Yeah. What's the stuff that Steven uses, Steven Bauman? It's like, I forgot what it is. You paint over it, and he like does drawings, and he seals them with it. Yeah, fixative. It's not fixative, it's something else like, it like creates like a seal. Better than fixative. And hairspray. Hairspray is kind of the same thing, but I think it depends on the hairspray, doesn't it? It's not, this stuff's not all the same. Like, I don't know about hairspray. I've heard that, but it's like sometimes it can blotch up too. Shellac? No, it's not shellac. He was on this kick with it. I don't remember what it was. We weren't taught this at the school. Mark Gacciardi actually too uses it. Seems to be like a new development since I was there. Kind of odd. It's an odd development. I've never used it, but it looks legit. Ah, take that. Dagian, that was hilarious, by the way, that picture with the Leaning Tower of Pisa behind it. Old Luigi, your grandfather. That was really, really good. Those old renditions, that takes skill, man, I'm telling you. You have a gift. See, when you get good at painting and drawing, once you get trained, which is you're not that far off, you could be teaching with humor as well, man, which I always recommend. I think you learn better that way. And it's a great thing, like, you know, I think to teach, I never consider myself, a teacher, you know, like at school or this or that. You know, I don't want to be teaching necessarily at an academy, right? But I enjoy doing it online like this because I'm essentially just working in my studio talking. That's what I like, right? I don't want to just like have to write curriculum and grade people and this and that, all that crap. And there's nothing, like, honestly, it's just a different calling. I'm not bashing it. I'm really not. There's a lot of value in that. And people have to do it. It's good to have. Right now, I guess, it's not. But my point is, I think it's very important to pass the knowledge on to people of the stuff that you learned. It's really good to help people like that, right? It's really good stuff. We gotta pass that knowledge on. Pass the knowledge on. I think doing that too improves us. I can tell a difference in my own work. Like I've improved since I started streaming and doing videos and all this stuff, meeting you guys. I have, because, you know, it forces you to articulate, you know, what you're doing to understand it better, to be honest. I'm going in with a small brush, but I will be going over this with a big brush. I'm just kind of trying to get this drawing correct because it is not accurate. It is not yet accurate, let's put it that way. It will be accurate, it'll be very accurate. Is the goal with this. Pete, what's up, buddy? Yeah, painting hands. I like bent over to pick something up today, and I got something like a crick right here that I know is going to tighten up. I know it's going to tighten up. It's just one of those things. All right. Just one of those things. Just going to be going back and forth with this stuff. Like I said, I'm going to go back in probably with a bigger brush at some point, and kind of refine or paint over with larger strokes. What I've done, it's a back and forth right now. I'm just trying to get all these, get the subtle drawing correct. And I'm looking at this, but I'm looking at the face, which y'all can't see up here. As I look at that to judge it, it's obvious it's not looking that great right now. But we really haven't, like what I do, I blocked it in with color last time. I haven't really developed the hands at all. So. It's too dark. I darkened it, but I'm going to actually bring some color back into it. Let's bring a little bit of color back into this. This music's perfect for painting, actually. Yeah, man. Davi's awesome. I'm telling you, There's a lot of talent here. There's a lot of talent, and there's a lot of actually everybody, like, you know, everybody has their own knowledge. I feel very confident that if I can't answer it, somebody else can answer, you know, whatever question there is that somebody has. And that's a good thing, man. That's how we get going with this stuff. Yeah, Laura, I had a fun time in your stream yesterday. That was a lot of fun. I'm glad you streamed. That was good. It's really, you have really good conversation. I think you're really good at doing all that stuff. I'm trying to make this turn, man. All right, man. Pete, I'm glad you could stop by. So how's your class coming? There. Wait, this is the lighter brush, so I want to bring that up some. Let's do this. Circle of Death? What are you talking about? Circle of Death? I know the Triangle of Death. Network error? Really? On your computer? Yeah, I know. I agree, Laura. It's the more you like stream, the better, the more comfortable you get with it. What was I doing? I lost my train of thought for a second. It's not the blue screen of death, is it, Randall? That's over for the summer. It was good, though. Didn't have session last week due to no sign-ups. I have the same problem, Pete, honestly. I have 2 people who take my drawing class like in person, and it's a really good class. But I don't think I advertise it that well, and to be honest, it's not my primary focus right now and all the stuff that I have to do. Oops. Yeah, advertising is freaking hard. Golden mural paints, sweet stuff. Pete, I am teaching skull structure construction, destructive drawing for teaching skull structure constructive drawing for a week in July to 2 students for the youth program. Yeah, I know, it's the same ballpark. Thing is though, you know what? It helps them out. It helps you out. You're going to get better at it, so it's not a waste of time necessarily. Could be. I mean, you know what? I'm not one to say what's a waste of your time or not. I don't know your time. Maybe I don't mind doing that stuff. You know, the students that I have, they're very good. They're very serious, and I enjoy that. They're good people, really good people. This comes out some. I need to bring this up just a little bit. There we go. Comes out some. This is too short, but this didn't go forward that way. This comes back. So I'm going to fix this at this stage right here. This actually comes up just a little bit. Something like that. There we go. That comes up. All right. And then let's go back in with the brushes. This is what I was using before. I'm just going to go in with this shadow here. Just bring this part up some. Bring this up some. Soften that edge. Bring this up just a little bit. Bring this up. This up. There. A little bit better. Pete, do you use an Old Loomis method? That's from Quildar. All right. It's all right. Laura, how important is it to have students with the right mindset? How important it is to have students with the right mindset and less whining about being great right away. I'm glad that my difficult students did not return. That's normally how it goes. There was one person who really despised me that I taught. I remember she was such a bitch. I used it in some, and I was nice to her. I gave her more time than anybody else. I used it in some degree. Pete, well, I have some time to reflect, help things kind of open that door from time to time, and I've gone back into almost full-time training with a good friend and mentor. You've been struggling with line drawing portraits. Just line drawing, like no shading at all? Is that what you're talking about? Oh gosh, staring at that screen and then like my eyes need to readjust. It's like, whew. Whew. Just getting the basic proportions, yeah. Yeah. Oh no, I hear you. And Quildar, don't let that discourage you. If you are getting discouraged, don't worry about that. That was, to be honest with you, it's the main holdup in most of the stuff, right? Is the drawing, and especially in painting, I had a very hard time in that, and I sometimes still do, right? Sometimes it's just my mind won't see what I want it to see, right? It's just how it is. So that's a normal thing. It means you're on the right track. And because let me put it this way, I think most people quit. Most people, I do believe, quit. And it's important to carry through, but carry through the right way, right? And so, which oftentimes means that you're seeing your mistakes and you're facing them. You have the nuts to see and to face them. And at least that's how I look at it. And that's a very important thing in painting because you have to improve. It's not always about where you trained. There were a lot of people at my school, for example, who were not that great, even after 3 years study. And it took me a while to get a stride. It was difficult, man. It's difficult, but it has to do with your hard work and just being honest and seeing the stuff and having access to the right type of training too, and taking that seriously. All right, let's turn this into the shadow properly. Whoops. It is not the dark brush. Whoops. I've been searching on the 19th century academic methods, and when you compare it with the modern atelier method, it's kind of different. How so? Cloud art. I feel like I do a better job when I don't have, I'm going to squint down so that this doesn't burn my eyes. I feel like I do a better job when I don't have the reference next to the drawing, because then I am forced to imagine it on the paper. Huh. I don't know if I understand that. They didn't use sight size, and they finished as they went, a portrait part by part. 19th century academic methods. There were several, Sir Joshua Reynolds, you know what, I don't know. He's the one who advocated for the BARG program. Interesting, I'll have to look into that. I never thought about, I never questioned the correlation between site size and actual construction, because there are two things, there's site size, which I'm not using for this. This is comparative measurements, but they taught us site size because it's a great way to compare. As they finished as they went, a portrait part by part, not as a whole. Like starting with the eye and working out, didn't you know? That they got the block in and features, then added a general flesh color, and then went painting the head and then the body. Huh. Raymond Alex Hurtado. Okay. I'm talking about the École des Beaux. Okay. So that school, I'll have to look into it. I don't know. Do not know. I'm glad you researched these things, man. Because then you can teach me. Why did I do that? I didn't need that. Okay. There we go. The BARD program was to learn to draw in a public school setting. Was it for public school? It was the Royal Academy students, wasn't it? I think it was, man. I'm not sure if it was just public. It's too light. Charles Barg did it. He's an amazing painter, yeah. I agree. He is. He is an amazing painter. So I'm going to go over this with a little bit larger brush because, like I said, I'm just trying to smooth this on, but then I want to put a nice finish to it a certain way, and I might start doing that in a second. I know that doesn't work. Give me a second here. Oh, son of a bitch. All right. Peasant Skull Pete. Okay. Oops. Oh. Peasant School. Oh. It was set up by the government boards of the arts education system. There has always been some sort of drawing from paintings, drawings, and or prints like master copies. So when he was setting this up, they had to choose between, they rounded it down to about 3 programs. So it was obvious like the master copies and such they would be doing, but one of the reasons why the Barg drawing program became, like they chose this was because they thought it best represented the classical, right, the Greek, the Roman aesthetics of beauty. They had a sense of beauty. Now, how many people today would get pissed off if you said that there's an aesthetic of beauty that should be common and that people should be educated into it? But this is how the Barg drawing system like that, they thought it was the best representation, the best technical way of representing this and teaching this type of technique, right? Through the lines, through the shadows, definition of shape. I remember, I forget it was between Barg, it came down between Barg and 1 or 2 other people, but Barg had a little bit more solid form, meaning solid shadow shapes, more definition and such behind his work. So yeah, they didn't use site size method. Interesting. Okay. You know, it's funny because in the Barg drawing book at the very end, there's site size. Like it describes all this stuff. So maybe that was something added later on. I don't know. It's fascinating stuff. I'm glad you guys are looking into this. It was remodeled after the Julian Academy. Julian Academy. Huh. It's fascinating how quickly they did a figure painting or a drawing. How long did it normally take them, Tagian? I want to know this. Clara, what's up? We were wondering where you were. We were just talking about tracing a little bit ago. There was somebody on, like, who was, didn't get into a debate, but I kind of didn't think he was too smart. And then I was like, we should probably just let this go because I'm just spinning my wheels. It's true. He was commenting, and I kind of did it back and forth. Not on the stream, it was on the video, but it seemed like that really ticked a lot of people off what I said. Grizzly Hills. Yeah. You want me to tell you what he said? So he starts off by saying, museums have it, it's the camera, Lucida or whatever. He said some name. I forgot what it's the projector, right? And they trace onto it. Museums have it. So I said, okay, the man made a statement. The museums have it. Now, in my head, I'm thinking, I know he's saying, like, I think he's probably saying, yeah, he agrees with it, and like that makes it valid. That's one thing. But he didn't say it. So I said, is that a good thing? And he said a lot of, he went on to say, essentially, I forgot what he said, the next part. But yeah, he was essentially backing it up. Anyway, you can read the comments. It's quite interesting. But then he starts insulting my work over it and saying, if you notice like your small finger, like the pinky finger in this one drawing is off, and that mistake wouldn't have been made. It's essentially the layering over the top of the tracing that makes the work, not the actual tracing itself. That was his argument. And I said, that's a better argument than saying museums have it because they have all sorts of stuff. So anyway, it was good. But then I was like, I think he's trolling. So I was like, I'm not gonna go with this. Oh, and he also said like Rembrandt and all the great painters and stuff used it. But I think I don't think it was the camera as much, and if they used the camera, it wasn't like they were doing his work off it, but it's talking about tracing. A lot of people get confused, like tracing, confused with transfer drawings. Those are two separate things. Like, you can trace, but a transfer drawing is not what I'm talking about, because you did it, right? And then there's a whole process of development in your work. So anyway, it was fascinating. I thought you would really like that, Pete. Though I do have a feeling that site size was an approach in some academic schools for beginners, so to speak, but looking through the history of it is not mentioned at all, or maybe very little, until it was brought back to the States by, I don't remember his name. Caravaggio used the camera lucida, right? I can't, but did he do it exclusively? I mean, he could draw, right? Like, did he always use that? Because if he did, I think that sucks. Just because Caravaggio did it doesn't mean I'm going to go through and say, hey, it's good. You know, I think it's bullshit. I can't read the comments. Well, later. All right, Pete, see you, buddy. Most of the great painters were more like project managers. They wouldn't even do the actual painting. To an extent, but that's a broad statement. Some people say that even Sargent didn't use site size. The idea behind it is so much bigger than execution. I'll explain why it's important in a second. Raymond Alex Hurtado talked about it on Instagram. Randall showed me a documentary where they talked about it. Honing your craft is great, but I think that's more for yourself than for others. Well, so if people want to, look, I don't think, if you know how to draw, why would you trace? Like, what's the advantage? Why would you want to trace? Like, why is this? Answer me that. Why would you want to trace? And don't just say it's a tool. Why would you want to trace? And how does that benefit your work? It's faster. That's not a good reason. Why else? That's not a good reason. Like, give me some solid way that it benefits you and makes the work better. You should be able to get this painting done in a day instead of 3. Why is that not a good reason? Because paintings last forever, and I believe it sacrifices quality for expediency that in the end is not going to be important at all. You can do more projects then. Yeah, okay, but the quality of your work is going to be going down. Like, you're going to be sacrificing the understanding of what you're drawing when you just simply blindly trace. I don't think, and plus you're not going to be going, like, I'm going off photographs here, but I don't think that's a great thing. You're going to, like, how do you trace from real life? Real life is the best way to go about doing a solid painting. Well, that's where I disagree with you, Clara. See, we disagree there. I think it's such a cop-out. I really think it's a cop-out. I don't believe it's a healthy practice. As an artist, like, you have to stay on your craft. You have to always be trying to improve yourself. Like, and I'm telling you, I'm not happy just painting off photographs right here. But I am striving to understand what I am looking at. Like, I'm trying to get form, I'm thinking about these things. Plus, I have an extensive knowledge of actually going off real life with this. You might not be able to tell so far. I think there are times for both. So these are broad statements that just sound good, but they don't have any meaning. If Caravaggio did it, you didn't know, then what's... If Caravaggio did it and you didn't know, then what's the problem? Well, the original thing is tracing cheating. I think it's just a cop-out. But now I do know, so it's irrelevant. I mean, and I'll say this. I think a trained eye, like I think probably he could paint and draw. Like, he could definitely paint, but I'm saying he could probably draw. that just as much as trace it. And I just think that his work would probably be better if he hadn't done that. That's what I think. There's time to save time so you can do more stuff. I think a balance will make you more prolific. I think this is reaching. David Hockney did a 2-part documentary on the history of artists looking for more realism via optics. It's on YouTube. That makes it official. Yeah, that's the one. It was very interesting. I can make statements less broad. I don't think tracing is always a cop-out. I think there are situations can be beneficial to save time. I think in graphic design it doesn't matter. I mean, that's it. But in this line of work is what I'm talking about. This. All right, this stuff right here, I don't think is beneficial. Like, if I was to start tracing, I would suffer as an artist, and I do not believe the work would be as good. I really don't. When you draw, you're seeking to understand what you're drawing, and that understanding comes out in painting. If you just trace, you don't have that understanding. It's going to come out in painting. It's going to come out. That's my point. That's my argument. I proved that wrong. All the struggles that I've had in painting have ended up making me better. All of them. If I take those away just to make it quicker, like every time I take a shortcut, it hurts me in the end. I can make my if Rembrandt cheated on all his self-portraits, why are the dimensions all different? What do you mean, dimensions? Yeah, if you're doing specific oil painting studies to try to capture classical painting, it's probably not beneficial. But if you want to create work and trying to share creative vision, you'll be able to do more if you use tools to help it to go faster. That's true. That is correct. I just think that if you're going for like really good work, right? If we're really trying to like get really good work, then I mean, come on. You can't tell me that, like I don't know. I just think it's bullshit. But I am going to be a cynical old bastard. I am. I am being honest about that. Okay. Shit, that's not what I wanted. iTunes, etc. I think if you're going to really good work, you should branch out and not only do one specific thing, that one specific thing being classical painting studies. I agree with that. I do agree with that. I just think that, what I'm saying is, I think getting in the practice, getting in the habit of tracing your work as a common practice is detrimental to your work, this type of work, in the long run, even if you expand out to other things. Expanding out to other things, I think, is a good thing. I just think tracing is a shitty thing to expand to. I'm not talking about tracing in transfer drawings. All right, how's that statement? Do you agree with that? You'll be less likely to bring something new and unique to the world. I actually believe that about tracing. That's one of the things. I think it kills creativity. There's so much that you learn in the pursuit of trying to get the drawing correct, which I don't think most people understand because most people aren't trained. And that, you might think that sounds arrogant, but I think that's the truth. I think most people don't understand what they're saying when they belittle the drawing. I think there's so much value in the drawing process. I think that it's overlooked, even by a lot of people who know how to draw. That's what I believe. I think that's what's being sacrificed, is the process. I don't doubt that like a tracing, like if I was to trace this right now, it would be more accurate than what I have right now. I think like I could work, but like once I work on it a lot, but see, the other thing is like I can do artistic things with this as well. I'm not just thinking about simply getting the drawing correct. I'm thinking about a lot of other things right now, like the overall light effect, subtle movements, right? That I like subtle shifts that I might like move a finger here, move it there, what have you. There's subtle things that I would like to change. I just think tracing kills it. I think people trace because their own skills are insufficient. And I do believe that is going to be reflected in the artwork itself at some point. Now, I do believe, I love doing digital work. I love doing different types of painting, acrylic. All that stuff is beneficial. I don't have any problem with that. It would be beneficial to this work. If you're doing a tracing for your studies, I agree, which I think is what you are referring to. More, yes. So if you are in a space to learn, but if you're tracing for concepts to save time, I think that's helpful and will allow you to be more productive and focus on other things, changing things up. All right, maybe, but again, as a common practice, I think it's detrimental to an artist. How about this, Clara? How about people learn to draw and they learn to do the gesture drawings? They don't need to do something so incredibly accurate at first. If you want to do concept drawings, when you have to translate like a person over on the paper, you're thinking about the gesture, you're thinking about all these things, and you're gleaning all these little concepts, as you say, in your mind without even knowing it because of the pursuit of trying to get it recorded accurately on paper. That's what's being lost. It's another thing, like you might as well just take and I do this, I'll take a photograph of a scene if I want like references and stuff, right? Instead of just tracing it. That's what I would do. What do you think about that? When I see people trace a portrait, the portrait looks flat. They forget about the structure of the face and under the flesh, which is what I said earlier. It's the three-dimensionality of it. Sharps and softs in contour are planes that are facing a certain angle and having light reflected off them and playing off the background. Those things an artist who's trained understands, and they'll reflect that in the work. The person who traces it is just going to trace the width, the height, and they're going to miss all those subtle angles. Like, look, when I draw with straight lines, for example, right, I go 1, 2, hatch them out. I'm actually thinking this is an angle here, I'm relating it to this. There's so much that's going through my head with this. Those angles and crossing them out, especially in joints, is what makes form. It gives those subtle planes. But somebody who traces is just not going to think about that. It's going to be lacking, and it's going to hold your concepts back for the sake of expediency. What do you think? Lewis, nobody is saying learning to draw has no value. No, I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying either, Qualdar. So here's not a terribly unique opinion, but here's my viewpoint and where I'm coming from. The biggest insult to me is having artwork being boring. So with that in mind, I prioritize the concept over learning to constantly hone my skills. There's value in it, but it's not everything to me, but I might be a different type of artist. This learning to draw has value, tracing takes away from that. That's what I'm saying. But it's not everything, is all I'm saying. Yeah, that's true. There's a lot to it. I agree with that. You're not responding to Claire's argument. You're just repeating your own. I am responding to her argument. I'm not just repeating my own. Like, I mean, I don't know. I think I've been pretty clear on it. And guys, honestly, I'm not on a crusade with tracing. Like, people want to trace, they can do it. I don't care. I really don't. I think we're in agreement. I'll summarize. Drawing is helpful. Tracing is contour to someone who wants to properly study. Tracing can be helpful to save time if you aren't focused on learning how to draw and focusing on other key aspects of art. I mean, I guess so. I guess so. Just like, so like what type of art are you talking about? Just like conceptual work for like, look, I'm talking about like in this sphere of work. I'm not talking about the average person. I'm just not. But there's constancies. It's like if you want to, if that average person who's doing something really wants to understand something, I do believe there is some benefit to tracing. There's some, but there's more benefit to actual like trying to draw. Even if they want to do a different style of work, I do believe that because I think it's a constancy. I mean, am I wrong there, or? Everyone has different views of painting and drawing. To me, if I don't learn something from my work, then I wasted my time. How would you draw something, Lewis, if I told you I wanted to draw something that is interesting? I don't care if it's accurate, but it needs to be interesting. How would you go about it? I mean, I would just do some concept sketches, some color studies, and then I would just do it to the best of my abilities. That's what I would do. I mean, is that what you're asking? No, it's not. All right, guys, so apparently I'm missing something. What am I missing here? What am I missing? Answer that question with, oh, you just want me to like do something. Is that what you're saying? Just do something. Do you want me to just do it out of my imagination? Or how would you create art that I would find interesting? How would I do it? That you would find interesting? I'd have to know what you find interesting first. Like, you give me some examples. I don't know. Maybe I'm just disconnected. Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know. I honestly, I think Lewis should trace on the next stream. I don't know. I mean, Claire, I don't know what you're asking, because I don't know what you're asking. Like, that you find interesting. Like, I need to know what you find interesting, right? Like, I don't know. You might find something interesting that express myself? Is that what you're saying? Just that? You guys, I'm genuinely confused. I feel like this is my point. I'm talking about specifically in this, like, academic work and, like, just solid paintings like this, and it can be creative. It can be creative. Like, I think, like I said, like, I don't know what we're talking about. It seems like, what are we talking about? I'm using me as an example, but you could be general population if you're talking specifically in classical or painting studies. I don't think that's creative. Okay. I can be very creative. The old argument. Classical paintings are not creative. There we go. There's the root of it. I'm sure other people would find it creative, but you don't. Okay, so you like conceptual stuff. It's less about how it looks. Is that what you're saying? Less about how it looks, more about the idea, the concept behind it. Is that it? What are we doing here? Classical painting studies are not creative to me, no. Oh, yeah, the studies, no, definitely not. I agree with that. The studies, yeah. But it leads to it because it enables you to do it, right? Oh, snap, tag in. Hot takes, here we go. All right, now we're getting somewhere because to be honest with you, this conversation is a little confusing. Don't you dare say that in this channel. Tagging, I agree with her on that. The studies and such, for the most part, they're studies of things. But you can have, damn, I shouldn't be holding the brush like that. You can have classical creative studies as well. You can, but when you're starting, when you're first starting, this is too small. Let's see. I agree with her partially there. You know, like I said, when I went to the Florence Academy, they said it's not an art school. It's just like you're learning the language. That's what they told us. So they made that clear. And so the art is what you're saying. You like the creativity. That I mean, I'm probably in the target viewer of this. I'm probably not the target viewer of this channel. I don't care. That's not why I'm doing this. You know what's funny? I think the Guru painting was super creative, actually, because Lewis had to work super hard to make it look good. Yeah, with rage. At this point, everything is creative. So how would you create a classical painting that's creative and not a study? Okay, there you go. Now that's making more sense, because I didn't know what you're asking, and now I do. So like with this, let's say this, okay? With this right here, like what I want to do, I'm trying to get like the form and everything. To me, that's secondary. Like, so you have a study on like form and how you paint, the brushwork, all this stuff, right? That's secondary to the painting, but very important in my opinion. That's the vehicle that I use. The study of it, for the most part, is dead. The intention behind it isn't. So for this, like what I would do with this, like I could, you know, first off, you can use pageantry, you can use themes, you know, you can like make her princess or whatever, put a beautiful crown on it. You can, like, I've compressed the values, and then I can have like glowing effects. I can have like a whimsical background. I can do something that's very creative. Something that is, you know, like kind of have her like wisping or something, like her hair going around or roses around her. Like there's all these things that you could do. Val, what's up, buddy? And in addition, you could push the colors and the values, but like all these dead studies, right? That's what enables you to pull this off better. Does that make sense? It's not, look, it's all about the direction, the end game. The end game is not just to have the study. You know, in the hierarchy of things, you have still lives are down here. And then you have portraits, figures, and then you have multi-figurative scenes with imagination, creativity. They might be expressing history, stories. They might just be imaginative paintings, right? But these studies enable us to do that. But we don't want to stop here. I'm not content with this. Okay? Does that help at all? And it's one thing me saying it. Art's something you have to show people. So it's kind of a cop-out just to say it. I agree with you on that, Eddie, about the Guru. I'm studying all the time. I think that there would never be a painting in my life that is not a study. Oh, and that's a good point, and I want to touch on that in a second. Sorry, I didn't get to play last night. I had a bunch of people over for a get-together. Everyone just left now. Jeez. I'm glad you had some people over. There we go. Now that would be cool, and that kind of stuff would speak more to me personally. Okay, so Clara, just FYI, that's where I'm going with this stuff. I was debating whether or not to tell you guys this, because I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it. And when you make something, you can be studying and being creative at the same time. And when you make something like that, it might be faster and helpful to trace so you can focus on how you can be most successful when working on that piece instead of focusing on learning because you aren't working on a study. So what you have to understand is that for me, having been trained, it actually helps me to understand what I'm doing, and I get that through the drawing process because I'm thinking about all those things when I'm drawing, okay? I'm thinking about all that stuff when I'm drawing it out. And that comes out in the work. It's a study. It's not just meant to be a nice drawing. If you have hard time drawing and painting, you're going to have to focus on that, and you won't be able to focus on the concept. That's all I'm going to say. You're going to have a harder time focusing on the concept. That makes sense. I think that's fair. I have more graphic design mind. And that's why I'm saying for graphic design, it's probably different. Like I'm not a graphic designer. Graphic design, fine, you can do that. It works for that type of stuff. There's not that, to be honest, there's not that high level that you're trying to reach with that. Like you can get away. I think you can get away with more. It's a different art. That's a totally different art. But for the average artist, painter like this, I express my thoughts on that. Let's put it that way. Tag in. So here's the thing. Think about this, because I'm going to make a comparison in regards to everything you do is always going to be a study. You might be thinking, oh, Lewis is about to say, that's not true. You'll reach a point where it's not. No, you're absolutely right. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to create a work of art with it. Every work of art that you do, you're going to be pushing it further, but like, that doesn't mean it can't be a study. You can't learn from it. And a study doesn't make it dead. All right? A study does not make it dead. It doesn't. You could be doing a study of a special effect, that it's a very creative effect, and you're being creative in that study. It's a study. Now, if you're talking about a reference study, reference or a real life study, copying, it can also be something where you're very expressive, but that happens normally down the road once you're trained, because if you're expressive in the beginning, you're oftentimes, making all these exaggerations and such without it being accurate, because you cannot be accurate because you're not trained. So there's a difference, okay? Yeah. When I say the word study, it means you have a specific goal you are trying to improve. Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I like that. Learning when you do art. That's not what I meant by doing a study. Okay, good. Okay. All right, so we just need to define things. So this right here, to be honest with you, is a study, but it's not a study at the same time. It is a study, but it's not just a study. Let's put it that way. I do want to kind of do something kind of nice with this. But also I'm doing this work so that I can honestly expose y'all to this type of stuff, and we can have these conversations / debates, which I do really enjoy. I think they're very beneficial. I really do. But when you're trying to do a study to improve you capturing the form more accurately, yeah, tracing would be unhelpful. If you study is to focus on color, then studying art to improve on that would be a study. But if you're just trying to create a piece where you combine everything you've learned so far, then I don't think tracing is a big deal, because it's not what you're focusing on. Yeah, okay, I can see that. All right, so here's the thing. I think if you're doing that in this line of work, if you can control yourself and not let tracing take over as a mindset, then you'll be better off and it won't hurt you as much and it could benefit you. See, I work by myself. I don't have people telling me, well, now I kind of do, you guys. You guys kind of tell me if something's off or whatever. But if you're working by yourself, you have to be careful about your practice, right? So you could really screw yourself up. I don't like this. I need to work on it some. It's not looking good. Tracing handicaps me. Same. You have balance and save time. I change things while I draw. Yep, I do too. And so here's the other thing. In drawing, let's talk about live models, because really, to be honest with you, I'm not a fan of what I'm doing in regards to drawing off of a photograph, but like a live model. When you have a live model, the model moves some. Now, some people might say, well, that's problematic. It can be, but I'll tell you why you can make it so it isn't. I'll tell you how. So if you have a standing figure, sometimes the model moves in a position that's more attractive to you. So you're going to, you learn to pay attention to that, and it trains you to develop an aesthetic, which benefits your art through a simple study. So like the model went from like standing here, the David pose, from here to here or something. It's very pleasing because it meshes well with their particular body type, anatomy, what have you. And you learn to look for that. That helps your work tremendously. It does. I know this firsthand. You have to experience it. That's really important. That's real life. Real life, you can walk around, you can look at them, you'll see more colors, you will. The cameras have these color filters. Half the time they don't pick up. It's a translation. It's a mechanical translation. It looks real, but it's not. It's not real. I don't personally trace. It doesn't work for me, but I do use other tricks in my art that others might perceive as cheating. I don't think it's fair to give tracing a bad reputation. Fuck tracing. I don't care. But that's a fair. When there are plenty other things you do to save time and improve the process, just because you don't use things the hard way doesn't mean that everyone should do it that way. Yes, it does. What I say everybody should do, Clara. I am a master tactician who knows what the hell they're doing, and nobody else does. All right? So I don't trace either, but I won't blame someone who has to make a living off of visual arts when they trace. That's a different thing, Queldar. That's a different thing. It doesn't mean that makes it good. It's okay if they want to do that. They can do that. They can do, look, you can do whatever, you can do things however you want. The original question, the whole thing that started this is tracing cheating? That was the question Clara asked. And then we have define where it's cheating, and in this line of work, I would say it comes close. Especially if you're saying that you do it like all your work is like authentic and well observed, and this, I think that's bullshit. Yes. Now we're talking about like people, making a living, blah, 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 this and that. But I would even argue the person who learns how to draw, if they know how to draw, why would they want to trace? Right? So that would be my argument there, but I'm not saying they can't do it. I'm not saying that. I never said you can't do it. But that doesn't mean I can't have like a harsh opinion on it, which I do. Look, I hold art and this type of stuff like in high regards. I really do. I think there's a lot that's lost in taking these shortcuts. That's what I believe. It's kind of what I'm saying here. Nudity in art. Go. playoverwatch.com beta. Is that for October 4th? I think it's coming out. Which I'm glad to see you on top of that, Clara. Actually warms the cockles of my heart. This is off. Oh, I see. Jeez, you know, sometimes I do the dumbest mistakes. And here's the other thing. When I make a mistake, then I'll make a mental note. Look at this next time. Look at this next time. And then you grow with an understanding of the human body. I guess here's my thing. I think overall, in general, if you're talking about like being a good artist, I guess what I want, like my main thing is that I really want everybody to experience being able to draw in the benefits of it and not underestimate it and watch their own work improve in their understanding. I feel like it's more of them missing out than them gaining. Okay? That's what I keep on coming back to with that. I think they're missing out on an opportunity to make their work great, really great. That's what I believe. I think it's a lost opportunity. Other hot debates. Nudity in art. Yeah, that'd be cool. It's for the one June 28th. Everyone who signs up will get to play. I hate painting clothes, all nude portraits. Overwatch is like the tracing of video games. Oh no, don't say that. You don't even play that game, Quildar. No, I'm not on that topic. It was an afterthought. I'm going to take back that previous link. Why? We've moved on, Lewis. I know. I said I moved on. Everyone instead go and play this. Steampower.com app. Rising. Oh, Vampire Rising. New portraits for the win. I'll endorse that. Let's see this. Okay, let's make some changes here. Clara, you are just a little troublemaker that distracts me constantly. I actually enjoy these talks quite a bit. You do have that power. Such a bitch. You do have that power. You know, I really like nudity. Like in art. I think a lot of people do. Wait. Gets the blood pumping. Wait a second. I don't know. I get into the keyboard warrior mode and just start typing like a mad one. You are. So I appreciate everyone who bears with me, gets the blood pumping. That's why Clara lost her job at the UN for 10 seconds. Yeah, there's the missing something here. It's a little bit better. My dream hentai girl. That'd be interesting. My dream hentai girl. I don't know what that would be. It'd be horrible. Become the most expressive pervert out there. What's a good chicken meal for lunch, dude? You can't ask me that. I don't know. I'm not good at lunch. Shoot, messed up. It means I can't figure out what to eat, and so I never fix myself lunch, and I have a protein shake instead. I mean, somebody made my lunch. I guess that's the thing. Like when you're young, your mom made you lunch. Well, that doesn't make sense because I make dinner. Well, I make oatmeal and then frozen pizzas. I'm good at breakfast because eggs are simple. You can make those. Bacon, eggs and bacon. Cereal is good cereal, so I have that. Coffee's always nice. I have some green juice in the morning. But lunch, I can't figure that out. Okay. That's so off. You're gonna eat toast for lunch, so I can't really critique. Yeah, well, I mean, you can still critique. Still critique. Even if you just have toast. Just out some. Let's see how that looks. Just to thicken up some. I see what I did. Okay. And then, wait a second. Oh yeah. So we got 3 cartons of Eggland's Best. Okay, simple green. I gotta go get some simple green because I have to clean my car because hawk shit on it, and also there's this grime that's like literally becoming part of the paint, which is a bad thing. It looks horrible. Frozen pizza, yes. Lewis, your diet is garbage. Yeah, it is. I don't know how to take care of myself. Chicken salad for lunch is okay. Yeah, that would be nice. We're thinking of making fried chicken sandwiches, which reminds me too, I was talking about the protein shake, which I normally have for lunch. I forgot, so I can't even do that right. That's nice too. I like tuna salad sandwiches. Club sandwiches is nice. Yeah. See, sandwiches are nice. I agree with this. These are all good things. These are great things. Wonderful. I agree. They're really nice. This comes up just a hair width. All right, Clara, what's your next topic? What do you want to talk about? Let's continue on with this. I don't want to narrate this painting unless y'all want me to. I mean, I can narrate this if you want. I don't know if I want to. There's that piece there, then there's this. Not into Gorgonzola. Oh, Gorgonzola, I love it. I used to sit down with those and just eat chunks, like just eat it with a knife. You're making the fried club sandwich. Hold that. We are having the buffalo chicken sandwich with Gorgonzola sauce. Oh, the sauce is good too. Let's talk about cheese and why Gorgonzola is amazing. It is amazing. Seriously, it's so good on pizza with apples. Pizza with apples? You mean pineapples? You can't stand it? Qualdarius. Yeah, I did make my roommate gag once. He saw me eating it. He was like, I felt bad, but it was worth seeing that. It was really funny, actually. And I can see why they say that. I mean, it makes sense to me. It makes sense. It makes sense, right? I can see the argument, but I like it. I like it. I like it because, you know, and here's the thing, it's mold. It is. It's still good, though. I like it. It tastes good. I think going into it, though, if I knew that it was mold, I probably would have been a little bit more apprehensive. Oh, looks like she has a freaking shiny booger on her finger. Can't stand it. It's okay to not eat regularly, Lewis. It is said that the dragon warrior can survive for months at a time with nothing but the dew of a ginkgo leaf and the energy of the universe. My stomach must not know that it's the dragon warrior. It's going to need a little bit more than dew. You like that? Totally makes me gag. The energy of the universe is quite satisfying. Maybe she does have a booger on her finger. I mean, maybe. Wait a second. Stop distracting me. This is y'all's fault this isn't done yet, not mine. Wait a second. Comparative measurements initiated. probably shakes every time I go back and forth. See, this is actually, it's a linoleum, but then there's wood underneath it, so it's a little bit creaky. This is some kind of mold, isn't it? It's not a pure fungus, though. Dude. That comes out. Okay, we got to think about this. Think. Think about the full-on squint. Zul'Farrak. Son of a bitch. Let's be darker. Not work. Cheese is not mold, nor is it the byproduct of mold. Some cheese varieties, like blue cheese, have specific species of mold that are intentionally added during the cheese making process to enhance the flavor of texture. Mold added to these cheeses can be thought of as a special ingredient. You copied and pasted that, didn't you? It's milk gone bad. Oh, shit. I forgot Clara is from Wisconsin. My husband grew up there. But she's living in Atlanta. Do you wish to go double jeopardy? It's too cold. Yeah. Dude, I don't know how those northerners live. Val, who might still be in the chat right now, is freaking up there. And it is not... Sounds horrible, to be honest with you. Okay, I'm going to actually go in with a little bit larger brushes and go over some of the stuff, but still correct the drawing. Wait, let me fix this hand really quick, this part, because I screwed this up. Let's go over this, kind of unify this just a little bit. Bring a little bit of light in. Just a little bit. Unify. And then let's get this a little bit lighter. Make it a little bit bluer. The value here. Lighten that. Turn the brush. Squint. Bring some light in there. And I kind of over-modeled it. The drawing is incorrect. And I'm looking at it from an angle. Did somebody not? No, they didn't. Totally off. Let's go back and get it. This comes up. Let me block this part in. This comes up some. This comes up just a little bit too. Squint. There's this, and then this part actually drops. Totally ruined that. It's closer, but it's not right. And then that other part swoops up a little bit into it, more than I have it. So guys, as you well know, this stuff is the behind the scenes of a classical painting, which is what I wanted to show you, but it's not like Bob Ross where it goes really fast all the time, right? It's not always going to be like that. There's a lot of study, there's a lot of messiness, quite a bit of debate. All right, let's see where he goes. This is 86 degrees. Coincidence, the same as obsessed with going to visit the house on the rock in Wisconsin. Do you look at going to that ropes course? Season 4 of Stranger Things worth it because season 3 kind of sucked. I liked season 3, but I'm very easy to please. Yeah. It looks cool. I want to know the answer to that question too about Stranger Things because I feel the same way. We are currently wanting the new season of The Boys. You guys are such nerds. Laura, you know what? You stay in shape with lightsaber fights, which is awesome, by the way, but that is nerdy. Someone will watch a report back. I've had no chance. So someone showing the screen just streaming program. I tried streaming Procreate yesterday on Discord, and I think it worked. Streaming Procreate. Okay. I thought I thought you said something else. I need to watch some tutorials though because it's big overwhelming with all you can do. Yeah, Procreate is awesome. That's how I started with digital painting. Y'all are funny. Okay. So, like I said in the beginning of the stream, I'll let you know if I can stream this week, but I have to watch after my dad, who has dementia, because my mom's going on break. So it's gonna throw my schedule off this week, and I'm not complaining. I'm just like notifying you guys about this. I really want to, because I wanted to do another stream. I don't like just streaming on Saturday. I want to be able to paint also during the week some. So we'll see if I can get a time, but it's looking doubtful right now for this week. But like I said, it's just this week. This week's just a little bit strange. It's just a little bit weird. Just because Mom's, she's out of town. She needs a break, man. She has a hard life right now. There's a cold shower. I saw that. I could use one too. Staying in shape takes. Yeah, Laura. I like that. It's the staying in shape one. I'd like to talk about that. I need to watch some tutorials. Procreate is awesome. If you have any good tips, I'm all ears. Staying in shape takes your mind away from the over chattering and complaining mind, and then you get to feel hard and anytime you want, which is refreshing. And then you get to feel hard. Hard abs, sheesh. I thought about taking a cold shower yesterday. I was taking my hot shower. I feel like taking a cold shower right now. I really want to. I just thought about how I really didn't want to do that. How did that thought make you feel? Art with Flow has good quick tips for Procreate on YouTube. Look it up. It's all the gestures that make it worth it. One thing missing for me in Procreate is adjustment layers, but it's on the roadmap. I believe. You know what's got me really excited? There is an After Effects killer in development. Is there a monthly? Is there a subscription fee for it? Once it comes out, I can kiss Adobe goodbye. That would be really cool because Cloudar, like what I want to do is. Like the stuff that I do in my videos, it would be cool if it looked like more realistic where I could like throw myself against the wall and look like I went through the wall or something. Can After Effects do that? And can the After Effects killer, will that be able to do it? Which I assume it would. But I do want to, I want to have better special effects in my videos. So what do you think? Answer that question for me. You have 5 seconds. Once it comes down, you're so sweet and nurturing, Lewis. Thank you. And then to hear that you have trouble taking care of yourself, I'm just praying that a kind but firm woman hears this stream and the rest will be history. Oh, that would be nice. But it's going to take a special woman to put up with my shit. And yeah. There we go. Ice. Looking good. Looking good. So all these like shifts in the color and the brushes that I'm using, all these things, I want to say this. It's not just me trying to get how it looks there. It's me trying to understand what I'm doing. And I'm thinking about an effect, and I'm trying to think of where it's going with it. And that mindset is something that I have developed over time. And it's easy to fall into the habit of just copying. So I try not to do that. I try to think about what I'm doing. And that's, I think, a very important tip as an artist. Think about what you're doing, like try to. Now, when you're first studying this stuff, you might not be able to do that at first. Like, just focus on getting the technique, the process, understanding the process, trying to better yourself, get past the discouragement, all this stuff. those are very important things. Like, you have to focus on those things first. But once you have a firm grasp of drawing, like I do, I'm an expert, very easily got the grasp within a week. I didn't really study for it. Once you have that grasp, then you can fully take advantage of it, utilize it as such. I just said. It's very generalized, that hand. I don't like what I've done. There's no form up in there. There's a lot that needs to change. There's a lot that needs to change. Let me go back to this. Yeah, this is not working. It's not working. It's okay. I'm developing it up. I'm not painting too good. I'm not complaining. It's just been a rough week. Kind of worn out. And it's kind of reflected in my mind right now. The head. After Effects. Oh, and Laura, by the way, thank you. That's a very kind thing to say about finding a special woman. That was really nice of you. I do appreciate that. After Effects can do it. I just am tired of how slow it is. The new software is going to be way faster, but it's not available yet. Do you know how you're going to have to pay for it? Have they explained their monetization plan? And yeah. Have you tried Clip Studio Paint? Haven't yet, but I hear it's good. Yeah, I'm debating that one too. Is that one, how do you pay for that one? Learning all the programs, I guess. I really like using the iPad though. It feels pretty good for drawing. Yeah, it's really intuitive. I was saying yesterday that it kind of feels like cheating, but in a good way. Anytime I discover a new art technique, I always feel like I'm cheating. Ixnay on the eating che. Yeah, cheating is a trigger word. I don't think digital art is cheating. It has a learning curve, and to be really good at it, it's a lot of work. This is true too. CSP is a one-time payment. CSP was that program that you mentioned before up top? The painters. What was it after? Clip Studio Paint. Okay. That's a one-time payment. I like the After Effects Guild called Autograph. They don't say what the payment will be yet. Okay. When I say cheating, I'm meaning more that it's a good experience. Can CSP do After Effects type of work, or is that more of like Photoshop type of work? Because there's another program for Photoshop. What was it called? It's a one-time payment, but it does everything, which I'm actually thinking of getting because it would be very beneficial. Anyway, let me focus on this. Like ADD right now. It looks in the stream. It looks okay. It doesn't look great. It's like freaking. Sometimes I make the mistakes that I feel like I should not be making. Goes there, and then it kind of pops out just a little bit more than I have it, and then it goes in. Let's take this brush. I hear good things about Affinity. Yes, that's the one that I was talking about for the regular Photoshop stuff. It's on sale for $30. Wait, this is Infinity, or is that CSP? What's on sale? Son of a bitch. Okay, language. I'm trying to improve myself. It's for studio. Okay, all right. Okay. Is that? Can you do After Effects stuff on it? Yeah, that's really good. I mean, look, I don't have. Hey, Clara, talking about this monetization, have you kept up with Diablo Immortal? It's a replacement for Photoshop. Okay, I don't think so. It's just for the digital drawing. So that a replacement for Photoshop. Gotcha. Okay. You know, Affinity though is one that I think is. It sounds to me like it's the closest. But have you kept up with the Diablo Immortal drama? And I want to hear your thoughts on it. I heard bad things about Diablo Immortal. I know, right? So what do you hear? Like, what have you heard? Because I've been keeping up with this. I've been keeping up with it. Like in the mornings, I'm working out, and I have those HDMI cables hooked up to my computer. I'm watching YouTube on it. I'm like, It's really funny, actually. Really nerdy, but I negate it with my workouts that are very manly workouts, so I'm not a nerd. All right, so I'm going to get more of a brush stroke on this, which is what I want, but like I said, I'm trying to work these proportions out. I gave her freaking man hands. That's okay, I know what I did. It's actually not that hard to fix. Watch me not fix it. Logan said it's just clear that they are constantly pushing you to pay to progress, and you get a substantial advantage, all while not being very transparent about it. Yeah, it's really dishonest, I think, the way that they went about it. They sacrificed a lot of faith in their company just now from a lot of people. A lot of people. A lot of people are really, really angry about this. But I think they're banking on the average person. They're switching their audience to the people who just don't keep up with it, which are most people. So, I mean, it's kind of a smart move, but I don't think it is. I really think it was a bad move. I really do. Hear the same thing about me too. That's one of the things I fear as well. Yeah, I miss the old Blizzard. Me too. Well, Qualdar, you don't even play games. They mentioned Battle Pass once or twice. I know, and they didn't tell us anything about it during the promo, but didn't say anything about what it is. Exactly. When I used to get excited about new games, I know, right? I know. I feel the same way. This part moves up. This comes down. This cuts in some. Shave that in just a little bit. Wait, I screwed that up. Just kind of bring this down just a little bit. Whoops. I know, man. I'm really worried for gaming. I really am. I'm really worried for them. I don't like these practices that they're starting to put into games. It's making it so that the average person is just not going to stand a chance in playing. I'm not going to play if games become this way. But the beauty of a free market society is that something will always develop to fit the people where there is the market for it. But it's just a matter of what all of us get conditioned into. That's a little bit worrisome and troublesome too, because it's a horrible practice. These monetization methods really, I think, are overall destructive. It also shakes the faith that people have in those companies. People are passionate because they love these games. They grew up with them, and it's a great pastime. It's a great escape. That's the other thing. I have to say this. I hate being preached to about politics in a game. I wish they would stick to the game, and Blizzard's starting to do this stuff, and it's really bothering me. I really don't like that they're doing it. I just want to play and escape this stuff. I don't want to have to hear about all these, frankly, divisive and troubling topics that they keep on wanting to throw in our face. It's really, really annoying the hell out of me, to be honest with you. I don't know, the people who are working there it does not seem like a good place to work anymore. That's being overmodeled. I used to get excited about new games. I played all the old Blizzard games, like Diablo 1 and all that stuff. All right, lunch is ready. All right, Claire, I'll see ya. Bon appetit. Indie games are where it's at, if you ask me. Yeah, I know. There's a lot of these small independent companies and stuff popping up, and but also a lot of the people from Blizzard left, and they started their own company. There's like 2 companies, I think, main ones that they started, and it seems very interesting to me. Shit, I see something that's off. Shelazar? It's not Shelazar. Yeah, I am worried a little bit. This hand is not looking too good. Yeah. Do I want to use this? Yeah, I can use this one. This is big enough. Whew, scared me. Can't wait to continue my painting. It will probably take me a long time to finish this one. Are you talking about the face, that man's face with the hands? That one? Which is looking good, by the way, Queldar. Really like it. It's looking really good, man. Let's work on some of this detail up top. I like this brush because I can use it as a large brush by turning it to the side, but I can really detail it with the point, which is kind of nice. It'll take you a long time to finish, yeah. Well, good, 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 good. I'm glad to hear that you're into that, and those paintings are very good to do. I'm glad you're doing that, and to be honest with you, it's looking very good. So here's the thing. Like drawing, you're getting it. Your drawing is getting better. Tagging's is getting better. Everybody's drawing is getting much better. You guys, 5 years from now, I'd love to see where everybody's at, including myself. Our work's going to be totally different. It's going to be really freaking sweet, right? It's going to be really cool. Should I scrape down the black paint or just paint over it? How thick is it? How thick is it? And is it dry? Is it dry right now? That was a. Are you playing games later today? Yeah, I should. I got a lot I have to do, but I should. I'll be able to play tomorrow, definitely. Probably later tonight, and possibly some during the week because I have to watch my dad a lot. And yeah, so I might be able to play some this week too. But you're probably working. Dry for a week. Don't use medium. Is it thick? Is it like painted on thick? I don't know. It's like the second layer. Okay. I'd have to see it. Like this right here, I wouldn't necessarily have to paint over because this is pretty thin. And even this part right here, but if I wanted to, like, I would scrape it down, but like, so what I think going forward, Qualdar, if you really want to keep the shadows thin, when you paint it, I would scrape it down like right at the end of the session, and when you scrape it down and then just go over it with your finger like that, and it'll even it out so you won't see the scrape marks, and so you'll get a much even layering of paint the next time around. That's what I would do. You could try to scrape it down with the palette knife, like lightly scrape it, but you just, you don't want it like chunk into the piece, this and that. If you really want to get rid of it, you could get some medium grade sandpaper and lightly sand it. But at the same time, I would like kind of have like a brush at hand and kind of brush away the residue so it doesn't fall on the painting. But if you're painting over, it doesn't really matter that much. But to be honest with you, that's what I would do if you wanted to keep the shadows like nice and thin, right? If you wanted to keep them thin, that's what I would do. Otherwise, it probably doesn't matter, but you might lose some of the transparency depending on how it's painted. But it's hard for me to, like, it's one of those things where you have to see it, right, and kind of experience it. So I'm hesitant to give a broad, like, definitive statement, if that makes sense. But that's how I would handle it, obviously. Anatomy in here is broken up, and just the overall shape is not looking too good. I'll fix this stuff. This is the process. This is the, and again, like, this is a study, yes, but I'm like thinking about like how I want this to look, right? And taking it as, here's another thing, like, I'm taking this as an opportunity, like we all do in our work, to improve and to do good in this, and that will carry on into my next project, into my next project, into my next project. And that's the idea. So it's not just what you can do in one painting. It's what you can do over a period of time. Like, each painting will push you towards that goal. And it is very important to do. And some paintings are not going to be as good as others, right? Some paintings, they're really going to suck. And you might have done a better painting before. And that's okay. That happens to the best of us. Right? That happens to the best of us. But the main thing is to have a clear goal with this stuff, right? To stay on track. And here's another thing. Each painting, I think you should be striving to develop good habits. I think that's very important to do. You have to learn how to do, like, exercise best practices and good habits. And that's how you're going to improve in your work. And the creative aspect of it is in itself, I think, extremely important. And that needs to be worked on. It's not just something that you always have. I think it's something that I need to constantly remind myself and constantly work on myself, right? I need to practice to be creative. When studying and tagging, if you're listening, is studying the academic process. You run the risk of losing some creativity along the way because we're not paying attention to it or whatever, and it can slip over time, and it requires practice. Everything does. But that's a normal thing. It's totally normal. Kind of working this in, trying to darken it just a little bit. There we go. It's a little bit too light at the bottom. It's making it look like bones sticking out, which there isn't. Go with the darker brush here. And then add a little bit of reddish color here. I think this is it. Yeah, there we go. It's very subtle, but it's going to make a slight difference. Nope. Uh, all right, Queldar. Thanks for being here, man. I appreciate you. Get some rest, buddy. Yeah, I definitely am. This week, it would be hard for me to this week. I might, but we'll see. It depends on a lot. Dad's helpless, At this point, it's sad. But, I'm going to try to when I can. All right, buddy. Get some rest. A little better. Oh shit. Actually, I might be. No, I made that worse. So we're on the tip of the finger, just a little bit. All right. Let's see. All right, Laura, thank you. Yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to call it here. It's going to be good for me to take a break. I can always continue work on this hand later on. I need to do the other hand. Anyway, guys, thank you very much for being here. I really do appreciate it. Let me see if people. Yeah, I really do appreciate it. It was actually a lot of fun. So we're going to wrap this up, and Discord linked below. So if you want to catch the other live streams, maybe I'll do some this week. I'm not sure. Normally I can, but I always post in Discord. So anyway, you guys, thank you so much for being here. Y'all have a very nice weekend, and I will see ya. Louis Guidetti out. Thank you, Laura.